And here I was again, alone, clueless of my son's location, and just meters away from the man-eating creatures. But let's start at the beginning. I didn't know why the plane crashed. I was in shock. I didn't question, I didn't consider the reasons. I was just alive. The forest seemed normal. I was lucky to survive. I didn't even know if the capturing of this man's son was real. I didn't know if anything was real. But I was wrong about everything. The real purpose of this game is to survive. The forest is filled with an endless amount of unknown creatures, which is why you must gather supplies immediately. The area around the crash site contains the luggage of those who died, so loot all that you can find. Then it's really your choice. I decided to build a camp where I was. I couldn't find food anywhere though, but I began to chop down trees to build a camp. The hunger had decreased my strength, making this tree cutting job extremely tedious. It didn't matter though. All I thought about was the possible creatures that surrounded me. Bigger objects such as logs had to be carried in small numbers to their new location. You can then spawn in objects such as campsites using your survival guide. That can be opened by pressing B on your keyboard. Basically, it spawns in a transparent 3D diagram on the ground, and it shows you what you need to build it. The small campsite I built required logs, sticks, and rocks. I carried the logs that I'd cut from the giant trees to the site. Sticks can be collected by cutting down thinner trees and large bushes, and rocks can be found on the ground. Then bring all your supplies over to the 3D diagram, and press E to start adding each piece one by one. Now that it's done, I can save the game, but I found myself not wanting to because when you go to sleep, you wake up to darkness. I did it anyway since it was kind of necessary, but I woke up freezing and actually pretty scared. I lit some torches and then a ground fire after because only the ground fires provide warmth. And to be honest, I didn't want to move from my spot. It wasn't worth getting myself killed. I didn't feel safe anywhere, and that's really what makes a true horror game great. And then all of a sudden, these guys showed up. They're the biggest threat on the forest, and they really have a mind of their own. Sometimes they'll just ignore you, but if you start chopping away at their trees, they might just start charging at you. And they might attack you just for no reason at all. But I stood my ground, trying not to make attention to myself, and eventually they just left. What didn't leave me was the constant sound of footsteps that tortured me throughout the night. As it turns out, they didn't plan on leaving. I kept going to sleep, which fast-forwards the game for a few minutes. This can save you if you're ever being chased, which happened to me multiple times. They knew my location, and I had to leave. I began my first journey into the forest, and sunrise was still a while away. And finally, the sun came back up after the long first night. I was able to scavenge a bunch of berries as well during my walk to the river, but yet again these strange creatures paid a visit to my new home, and I still wasn't prepared to face them. I thought it would be safe to go back to my original home now and start building some defense walls. It was only about a 5-minute walk from here. When I got back, everything still looked the same. For once, I actually felt safe. all the natives were back at the river. I cleared the area as much as I could in preparation for the walls I was going to make. I actually made a lot of progress, but all of that came to an end when I was surprised by an angry native on the other side of the plain. I had to fight back this time, but I was already weak. One hit from him knocked me unconscious and sent me to an underground cave. In most situations you can actually fight a lot longer and manage to kill one even, but here I was, facing my newest challenge. It was filled with dead bodies, people who had probably been in the same situation I was. Luckily though, I had a flashlight on me that I looted from someone's suitcase earlier. I had no idea how long I was out or how long I was going to make it. The cave had multiple paths and I just had to hope I was taking the right one. I was just glad I was away from those creatures. I doubt I would find any in this place, and after a long search, I crawled my way out of an opening. There was a small fence that was easily cut through. I wondered where I would end up. Maybe I'd be out of the forest. But it seemed that dream was not yet a possibility. Everything was the same. I just had a new start. So here I was again, alone, clueless of my son's location, and man-eating creatures just meters away.